Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining with us and welcome to the second webinar of our monthly webinar series, the Extended. We have been seeing quite many discussions and kind of confusing information around the topics such as 2D and 3D visuals and virtual environments, and actually how businesses can benefit from them. So we wanted to create this webinar series to increase the public knowledge in the sector. At 3D Talo, we are very passionate about what we are doing, as we believe every business in the future will have a way to benefit from virtual solutions. So today we will be having around a 45 to 50-minute session. So like I suggested, maybe grab a coffee or water and let's get rolling. And as a reminder, we will be recording the session and posting the video on our social media. Actually, I forgot to tell you who I am. Apologies. My name is Orkun, the Customer Success Manager at 3D Talo Finland. And I'm very excited to meet you all, guys, and hoping that you will take something with you today from this webinar. So now I would like to introduce you today's speakers. Iiro is our key account manager. He has been with us since the beginning as one of the founders of the company and has wide experience on virtual environments and how industries can benefit from them. Welcome, Iiro.
Hello, and thank you.
And secondly, we have Matti Juhani, our head of design. MJ is also one of our founders, and he actually led us creating our first flagship software, the Design Space. And today he will be talking about it. Also, welcome, Matti.
Hello, and thank you.
And finally, we have Pong as a guest speaker, and he is the design and research consultant worker for Kone. And today he will tell us about his experiences using Design Space at Kone. Welcome, Pong. You seem to be muted, Pong. If you want to say something.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and thanks for having me.
So during the session, make sure to write any questions you might have on the chat, and in the end of the session, we will have a QA part to go through it all. So like I mentioned, today's discussion is around 2D, 3D, and virtual environments. Iiro, could you tell us what is a virtual environment from our perspective? Please welcome and inspire us.
Okay, hello and thank you, Orkun. Okay, so my name is Iiro Naumanka, and I will start with a short description and how we define virtual environment here in 3D Talo. So we are specialized for investing in different kind of possibilities for future technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality. So that is the main thing what we do here in our office. But for us, the definition of virtual environment is actually much bigger than that. And in this presentation, I will focus on small part of virtual environment. That is the virtual reality and how it can be used in perspective of designing and engineering. Okay, so before virtual and digital possibilities, plans were made mainly as a 2D drawings on a physical sketchboard. And when first computers were invented, we started to change those sketches into digital drawings. And I could say that maybe in the beginning of 90s or mid 90s, we started to create the actual digital 3D CAD models as we are using mostly today. And those 3D models are the mainstream of designing today. And I think that they will remain as a mainstream in future as well, because the world where we live is kind of three-dimensional as well. So with the 3D models, we can understand the model and the real time as combined. But what is now changing and will be different in future is how we view those 3D models and what kind of technology we can use to replace this current mainstream system, which we are actually, maybe all of us is looking now, this two-dimensional display. So we can replace this two-dimensional display with, for example, on upright corner is this virtual reality glasses head-mounted display. In my opinion, we will use in future more environments which allows us to utilize our stereoscopic side, and we can get a better understanding of this third dimension depth, what we cannot now see with the two-dimensional display. Virtual reality glasses are at the moment the easiest way to add this understanding of third dimension. By it allows computers to calculate the difference between two eyes, and that way we can actually have the stereoscopic view into our use. But is this just like a one step on our way to adapt these virtual environments completely as a part of our actual reality? So the world where we live, how we combine the virtual environments and the actual reality. Because currently we can trick our vision with the virtual reality glasses so well that we can have realistic feelings of moving and falling just by using virtual reality glasses. So future will show what happens when we start to trick our other senses as well, a similar way as we are now tricking our sight with virtual reality glasses.
All right, definitely, yeah. So thank you, Ira, for this wide explanation of virtual environments in general. And one main point here is the communication and understanding. So using 3D visuals, either in planning stages of a project or even better, when communicating the plans through, it is increasing the chances that the content will be understood much better. And although businesses are run by money and ideas, they are actually all run by human capacity. So we need to benefit from our senses, feelings at such a level that it will make our decision-making process much easier. And 3D visuals is a great source to increase this capacity. So, Eero, could you elaborate this with some examples and like show us what are the differences between 2D, 3D, and also VR, maybe, so everybody can get a better understanding?
Okay. Okay, so I have the same model in three different environments to demonstrate the differences in practice. And here we have a comparison between 2D and 3D. And as we can see, 2D drawings don't have the third dimension. So to get complete understanding of the model, which is usually three-dimensional in our world, must be done by projections from different angles, and the complexity of model defines how many projections we have to do that we can understand the 3D model from the 2D view. And to understand also those projections, there are lots of different kind of standards how the drawing must be done. And a person who is trying to read those drawings and trying to understand those projections must have education and experience for reading those drawings. So it's not very easy to start to read those two-dimensional drawings from point zero. So you need at least education, but usually also experience to understand what this model is trying to be in three-dimensional world. And also this 2D drawing doesn't include the data, so it's hard to use it further, for example, simulation or accurate structural analysis. So that's mostly the weaknesses of 2D. Of course, there are something, and it really depends on use cases and what are the benefits of 3D. When we go to the 3D part, the 3D model instead, it can store all the data or in different parts of the model. So, and also, as we can see from the pictures, it has the third dimension depth, which can be seen from the screen. So it's much easier to understand the whole structure of the model just by looking the 3D view. And that doesn't need so much education or experience to now understand the model and what is it trying to be and what is it when it was designed. It will look like more in real life. So also this 3D model is much easier to utilize in different simulation and analysis. And I think those how we can use the 3D model in many different ways is the part where we start to get revenue for the investment to do the actual 3D model. Okay, and we just compared the past, which was the 2D drawing, and now we also compared the past to the present. The present is the 3D modeling, and now we try to look at the future, what it will be when we can utilize the virtual reality as a part of designing. And here you can see the same model in a CAD software and a virtual reality. And from this two-dimensional display, what we are looking here, it is actually hard to understand the real-life measures and dimensions. For example, in this model, we cannot be sure just by looking the CAD model that is this structure 2 meters or 10 meters tall, because it looks like the same. But actually, when we put the VR glasses on and we are next to the building, we can understand right away that is this 2 meters tall or 10 meters tall. So actually, the more complex the model is, the more benefit you will get from virtual reality, because it helps you to understand the complex models. And now we only have one model here, which has, of course, multiple parts, but is quite small and simple. But when we start to combine a lot of these kind of models, the overall file size begins to go quite big, and it starts to lose the performance. So problem with CAD software is that when we start to have huge projects, they become to be impossible to handle with normal computers, just because the CAD models start to go so heavy and the performance loss is uh, significant in CAD models. And also, if you want to do effective design in a CAD environment, you need a lot of training and education to use those softwares effectively. So using virtual reality, we can create the user interface which is much more intuitive for the user, because you have also all the three dimension for working as well.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ira. Thank you very much. So, for heavy industries and their design processes, the value of using either 3D or VR is quite significant, obviously. And today, we actually have someone from an industrial company with hands-on experience using our solutions for these challenges. Pon, first of all, thank you very much for being here with us. Could you possibly tell us what were the practical design challenges of Kone and how our solutions helped you guys?
Uh, yes. Would say thanks a lot for helping me. So maybe I'm gonna be here today to share with you guys my experience and then my team experience of using design space in our to tackle our challenges here. So I'm gonna speak to you about one of our most recent research activity in using multi-user VR, so design space in high-rise elevator machine room planning. So this project is actually a part of the Gecko project, which is a Business Finland funded project. Gecko brings together major player and SME to build a dynamic ecosystem around the smart building platform. And in this project, we collaborated with 3D Talo and using design space as a proof of concept. So actually, we have started thinking about the use of VR because the current means of design communication heavily depends on 2D drawing. So often, only basic drawing is included, and then we have a lot of like missing information. It becomes insufficient for design review and complex machine room planning. And then it brings out to the field. Then we have a lot of installation errors, we have a lot of reworks and maybe even safety risk. But meanwhile, in KTI, Konet Technology Innovation, we already seen the successful use of 3D model in many of our projects that improve spatial understanding of the project team. So as BIM become very common in the industry, we would like to take it further and then understand what is the real benefit of multi-user VR from the perspective of user and from the perspective of business as Kone, and how we can apply it in our process. So to achieve the goal, we decided to conduct many interviews to identify, first of all, what our user wants, and we perform many user testing in four major high-rise projects across the globe in the USA, in the United Arab Emirates, in Malaysia, and Indonesia. We have involved more than 20 stakeholders inside this project, conduct many interviews, and then perform testing on 3 out of 4 of this project, because one project was because of the corona restriction that they cannot reach to the facility.
Mhm.
So what do we learn from this? After the test, we have very, very positive feedback from our participants, from engineering to project managers. They are all very captivated by the VR experience, and they say that they see a huge value in it. They see a huge value in using multi-user VR in machine room planning. So what these are the benefits that we find. We found that VR helps us to communicate design much easier, much effectively, because it offers real scale and immersive visualization. The participants say that they can communicate easier, and they really enjoy the freedom they have in VR, where they can walk, they lie down, and they view the model. We found that VR is a very intuitive planning tool compared to 2D drawings or even CAD model or even BIM tool, and it helps us to identify design issues much earlier. It also helps us to facilitate collaboration between our teams, and especially in companies, in international company like us, where we have like team from all over the world. But overall, we found that VR helps us to improve our confidence in design review. It potentially saves cost and time. It also contribute to the sustainability because we reduce our traveling thanks to VR in remote collaboration. Reduce waste because we can identify design issues, so we can reduce our waste. And finally, enhance our company image as a it's sustainability and innovation driven company. So we also, perhaps when applying multi-user VR like Design Space from 30 Talo, we found that we can save like several tens of thousand euros by just improving communication and planning. We can avoid 2 to 8 to 9 weeks of extra time by accurate equipment fitting. We can reduce our client design approval time from months to just hours. And also we can reduce like 20 to 30% of excess material, which if you think in reality, actually money. So these result will be published in a thesis, my thesis, with the name Proof of Concept Demo for Collaborative VR Machine Room Planning in VR. You can find it in Aalto University thesis database, or you can actually message me via my email in the future so that I can send it to you. We also have another research activity that use design space from 30 Talo in the product development process to understand what is the benefit of it and receive a lot of positive feedback from our participant too. You can find it in Alto thesis database with the name Evaluating the Utility of Multi-User VR in Product Development by Alberto Gabriel. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that I have given you some sort of insights from Gone about how we use multi-user VR so far. If you have any question, please raise it out, and we can talk more about it in the Q&A session.
Yes, you definitely. Thank you. Thank you very much, Bon. And hearing this from one of our clients is actually very important for us. As at 3D Talo, we like to create long-lasting relationships with our partners. So getting real feedback from our users, such as you, is actually like a fuel that helps us develop our software further. So now, after hearing it from the client's perspective, I think it's a good idea to finally discover what is design space. And the product manager, Matti Juhani, will take it from here. Matti?
Thank you. So we've been recently launching Design Space 2.0, and we've been working hard to create a software to minimize the risk of misunderstandings and also to give tools for better general understanding for every participant in any project. So taking advanced virtual models and VR classes in the design process, it provides realistic views to designs and their proportions, and leads to better design much more efficiently than by building physical mock-ups, or even sometimes if there's no mock-ups or tests in real life at all. So that would leave room for expensive mistakes. So our software is to help with that. So what is new in Design Space 2.0? Firstly, improved workflow. So we've been creating an easy way to create virtual models from your plans and designs, and to judge and present different design approaches with or without VR goggles. And part of that is improved collaboration, which means that it's easy to share and collaborate these virtual models, which allows all project participants to involve in the process better. This leads much quicker decision making and also to better and safer products in the end. And thirdly, it's improved toolset. which means the software now allows users to participate with or without VR goggles. So there's also a desktop mode, and users can collaborate and communicate with VR goggles or with desktop mode. And this provides more intuitive way to interact with CAD and similar projects, and also to combine models from different softwares. And users, they don't have to have any CAD software experience or even ability to read and understand the traditional plans. So with VR goggles, it's much more intuitive to understand everything. And also users can save different versions inside the build and edit the models and layouts during the VR session. So here is a front screen of our software, and I just go quickly through the workflow how you create virtual models. So in this view, you can see your builds. We call the projects that we make, they are builds. And to create a new build, you press open the build tab, and here you can name the build and add information, and also add models which will be included in the virtual model. And on the left side, down there, there's a place where you can drag your base models. That means these models will create the environment. For example, it could be a factory model, base plan, or a city model, or the product itself. And then on the right side, you can add models that will be included inside the add object tool, which means that the users can place them in the virtual model. So for example, if you are planning a factory layout, here would be all the machines and workstations that are going to be inside the factory, and people can place them and copy them and move them and edit them in the model. So then when you build the model, your build will be on the front page when it's ready. And this you can add models from CAD software, SolidWorks, and there will be import which transfers models to suitable format. And all this work will happen in the cloud service. And when the build is ready, it comes in your front page, and here you can either launch it or you can manage the collaboration settings. So here I can add another users who are available to access the build that I just made. So okay, here's one example that I made. I combined SolidWorks models to factory plan, and it took some minutes to create this environment through our builder. And now I'm in the desktop mode here, and I can move or copy or even edit the SolidWorks models under the hierarchy. So there's these 4 workstations here, so I can take parts of the workstations and move them and put them in the other places. So the hierarchy of the SolidWorks is there still in the design space. And I also shared this build to Iiro, and he could come to see what I was doing there. And I was using this desktop mode, and Iiro came with VR goggles, and he immediately saw what designs I had there and what kind of solutions I was presenting to him. And with VR goggles, he was able to detect errors and actually test the workstations and how they fit in the real environment. And that is very typical use case for software. And benefits like that can be reached in actually in any area of designing. It can be cities or factories or smaller product designs. And here you can see the view of the VR user, and there's same tools there and even more tools that are suitable with the VR glasses. And there's also an example of a point cloud imported model in the background, so you can see it. Design Space also takes point cloud models. And yeah, as I said, desktop and VR users can communicate and edit the same models and builds, and they can save their own versions, and so different users can bring their own data, own models in the same factory plant and put them in place and see how the different models work together, for example. So there was a quick look at where we are now with our software and what we are doing next. The biggest thing will be streaming, which allows users to share models by streaming them. So anyone could join the model directly, instantly, without needing to download anything. So you just open the model, open the web page, and you're inside the factory. And you can move there and you can communicate with others. And you can do that even with your mobile phone, and it's not it doesn't matter how big or heavy the models are. You can just go and move there with your mobile phone. And this technology is in a beta testing mode at the moment, and if someone is interested, we can provide a demo, and so it can be tested. And we're also improving the format coverage to support better different formats and softwares, and also overall stability and usability. And we are open to feedback from our customers, so if they have any special needs, we can find solutions for them. And to the end, I want to remind that if anyone wants to test this software, just contact our sales guys and we will arrange that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Matti. Obviously, Design Space is a tool that can bring the design work and communication together in one place. So it's very beneficial for both sectors, actually. But yeah, a lot of practical information about the future of design and how our software Design Space can make it easier for people who actually do not have design skills to plan environments. So to wrap it up, we are in a stage that technology allows us to change our design and planning strategies to be much more efficient. And as Triditalo, we love to be a part of this process and help the community with our expertise. So finally, I would like to thank everyone to join the discussion. And if anyone has any questions to any of our speakers, we would like to answer now. And I already can see that there are some questions in the chat. Maybe we go through those first. So can you edit the 3D model in VR, AR? What type of input devices do you use? Iro, do you think you want to answer this?
Yeah, and this input device, are we talking about VR headsets? So if we are talking about VR headsets, then our Design Space supports all the VR headsets which are also supported by Steam VR. So that is the plug-in which we are using in between the headsets and our software. So those Steam VR supported headsets can be found from Google as well. So if you just Google Steam VR, there will be found supported headsets.
All right. So the design space allows you to edit the model in VR AR. Yes, that's true. And the mainstream VR headsets are compatible with design space.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. The second question is the dimension are not mentioned of 3D or VR method. Why? Dimensions. So you mean when we were presenting about the 3D or VR, we didn't speak about the dimensions, but it actually is, of course, involved in the conversion process or the process how the design space works. It's one of the main values that design space brings, that you can see it through different dimensions. Did I get your question right, Shiona? You can reply in the chat. And the third question was, can you change different versions, for example, the UI quickly on the go while working in the project with the stakeholders? Matti, would you like to answer this?
Yeah. Yes, you can. You can easily swap between desktop mode and VR mode, and there are some things that are easier to do it with desktop mode, and then other things that are much easier to do in VR mode. So
yeah, so it depends on the user, but he can always change in between very easily, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Basically, you just put your headset on your face, and then you have VR look, and you take it off, and then you're on the desktop mode. So
yes, great. I hope that answers the question as well. So it was it. So as a reminder, we will host one webinar every month regarding different industries from now on. So keep following our LinkedIn account, 3D and the hashtag 3D Extended. And before I forget, there is a presentation link on the chat now that Timo posted. So if you would like to have a meeting, more detailed private meeting about VR solutions for your industry, you can click our names through that presentation and directly book a meeting with us. So thank you everyone for your time, and see you on the next webinar. Thank you.
sorry, there was one more question. I see.
Okay. Yeah. Do you have occupational safety solutions? Yes, we actually do. We provide virtual reality-based safety solutions, also trainings. We have specific products for that, but maybe we can get in contact one-to-one, and we can send you presentations about what we have, because it's a very wide area, and we cannot probably give you the exact answer that we need now. All right, perfect. Any other questions before we close?
Now is a very good time to ask if you have something on your mind, and don't hesitate. There is no wrong questions, only wrong answers from our side.
And like I mentioned, if you get an idea later after this meeting, you can always contact us. There's one question. For example, showing the 3D models to the customers, is there any browser-based interface or mobile phone-based 3D viewer system? Yeah, Matti, you were mentioning this.
Yes, we are beta testing the system that allows users to share their builds through the browser or mobile phones, and if someone wants to test it, we can arrange the test. And
yeah, and I will actually add something to this question. Can the customers can actually not only watch but do some actions through their devices, through the browser?
Yes, with the browser, at the moment, users have the same tools as desktop users.
Okay.
But the mobile phone is a bit more not so various tools, but you can move inside the model and communicate with others.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. And another question is there offline viewing possibility? I can answer this one. Yes, there is an offline viewing possibility. As long as you don't want to collaborate, you can just work offline and put the material in your hard drive and just work on your own. But when you want to collaborate with other stakeholders, then you need to choose the online mode.
And one thing also that we also provide these custom builds that if users want to create like a very polished version of their 3D models, we can give support for that too.
If our clients wants to make more developed visuals rather than just using the design space, then they can get in touch with us for that, right? All right. I think that's all, and thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and see you in the next webinar, hopefully. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye-bye.